Hello, and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today, we're going to tell you about a new phenomenon called the zombie real estate invasion and how it's affecting the entire real estate industry like nothing has ever done so before. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. We want you to like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so I want to make sure you click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase a live phone call from more than 100 celebrities for just $19.95. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. Historically, the real estate industry has always been a great way to make a large sum of money. It was secure, it was dependable, it was reliable. That is no longer the case. The real estate industry has been nuked over the last 12 months in ways that no one ever thought possible, and it's given rise to a new phenomenon known as the zombie real estate invasion. Here's what happened. Everyone already knows the pandemic caused the government to stop evictions, which means a lot of home renters stopped paying their rent because they lost their jobs. A lot of companies and realtors have also stopped making payments on their leases. This means that homeowners who try to sell their rental property can't unload their homes or their commercial property unless they offer a steep pricing discount and dramatically lower their prices. This also means that someone who buys an occupied rental property still can't evict their tenants, even if they continue to refuse to pay rent or leave after the new owner buys the property. It's also given rise to a bizarre new phenomenon where people are renting out and moving into Airbnb homes and then refusing to leave. The owners are calling the police, but the police can't do anything because of the moratorium on evictions. This bizarre new phenomenon also extends to the purchase and sale of homes. There are now numerous cases where someone who sells their home to a buyer who expects to move in after the deal is closed, but can't. The problem is that the seller will close the deal, deposit the check from the sale of the home into their account, and then refuse to move out. They're not going anywhere. Even though they've successfully sold their home, they refuse to move out and will stay just to save money for the next year. The police will go to the house, nothing happens. Reporters and news crews will go to the house, and still the sellers refuse to vacate. I know this all sounds like the Twilight Zone, but it gets worse. There are now people going on Craigslist and real estate websites looking for homes they can squat in. They're also cruising social media sites looking for people who are careless enough to brag about the fact that they're going on vacation and leaving their homes unoccupied. Once those vacationers leave the house empty, the squatters will break in and then put in new locks on the doors and then just refuse to leave. Once again, the eviction moratorium means the police will often refuse to throw them out. If that wasn't crazy enough, the problem gets worse. It used to be that you could determine the value of a house you wanted to sell or buy by looking at the comps of neighborhood homes that have sold recently. But doing that isn't as easy or as straightforward anymore because the value of rental homes or apartments is often determined by how much rent they were earning. Whether you own a rental property now or are thinking of buying one soon, how do you know if the current or future tenants will continue to pay the rent for next month or the next 6 months from now? This is causing prospective buyers to make very aggressive lowball offers on rental properties based on the fear that the tenants will stop making rent payments. At the same time, the sellers are saying that the eviction moratorium will eventually be lifted. This is causing prospective buyers to make very aggressive lowball offers on properties based on the fear that tenants will stop making rent payments. At the same time, the sellers are saying that the eviction moratorium will eventually be lifted, so buyers should pay the normal and full price for the home. Because of this argument, a lot of deals fail to close because the buyers and sellers can't come close to an agreement on the price. Next, you have another problem. What if you place a value on a rental property of X number of dollars and the pandemic flares up again in 6 months or a year? Theoretically, the eviction moratorium could be reinstated at a later date. What about all those landlords that can't make their mortgage payments because their tenants haven't been paying for a year? The banks will still want that money at some point, and how many people can come up with these massive totals? Think that's terrible? It gets worse. There are some places now like New York, Beverly Hills, California, San Francisco, and even Santa Monica, where there are countless homeless and drug addicts setting up tents directly in front of people's homes and on their front lawns, in their backyards, and then they just go to the bathroom several times a day on their lawns and driveways. What do you think that does to the value of someone's home? Do you think it will make your home easier or harder to sell? Do you think anyone in their right mind would purchase a $3 or $4 million home, or even a $300,000 home, if there's an army of drug addicts surrounding it and using the front and back yard as an open air toilet? You can realistically estimate that homes in those circumstances can have their value go to zero because no one wants to purchase them at all. If their value does drop dramatically, does that mean that a good lawyer can sue the city and claim that the homeowner's property taxes should also be reduced to zero because the home has lost all its value because the city has refused to move the homeless people out? We believe that that is a very strong legal theory because in many cases, the eviction moratoriums are being enforced by the governments. And if that's the case, then how can the government and the local municipalities legally expect to collect all the property taxes they claim they are owed by the homeowners? And let's say that thousands of homeowners across the country file lawsuits against the governments for destroying the value of their home and making it impossible to sell or impossible to collect the same amount of rent they used to collect. You could use that same legal theory to file a lawsuit that holds the city and state responsible for all the lost or diminished rent these properties were supposed to collect over the coming years. We believe it would be very easy for any real estate expert to draw a direct connection between the implementation of an eviction moratorium and the collapse in values of homes and rental property. What about all the millions of homeowners that continue to stay in their homes and who didn't rent them out, but continue to make their mortgage payments on time throughout all of this? What happens when these people go online and they see that the value of their homes has dropped dramatically because of everything that's happened around them? You could extend that same legal theory and file a lawsuit that alleges the government is responsible for the reduction in your home's value as well. If you have a $400,000 home that loses half its value because the comps have dropped because of the eviction moratorium and the tidal wave of homeless people and drug addicts that didn't exist before now surround your house, isn't it reasonable to hold the government and municipality financially and legally liable for all of that? This zombie real estate invasion problem is going to get much worse before it gets better, regardless if you're a homeowner, seller, or buyer. What about the people who own all those now empty office buildings and empty retail locations? Their situation is going to be horrific for years to come because so many of the companies and retailers who used to rent them out have gone bankrupt and disappeared. This is all going to give rise to a new horror movie coming to your neighborhood soon called The Zombie Real Estate Invasion. Let's hope these zombies don't attack too soon. Thank you again for watching. And I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the future. So we want to encourage you to subscribe to our free channel and click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you for watching.